If you're completely new to rotary cutting, then here are some basic tips to get started using a rotary cutter and wide quilter's ruler. I like to work with the fabric selvage nearest to me and have it lined up with the lines on the cutting mat, although that's not as important as lining up the ruler with the fabric. Since I'm right-handed, I'll start measuring and cutting from the left-hand edge of the fabric. But first I need to get a good straight edge to measure from. So in actual fact, I need to start by turning my fabric round so that I can neaten up the edge to the right of my ruler. I'll line up the ruler with the selvage of the fabric, keeping it close to the right hand side so I don't waste any fabric. Spread your hand over the ruler to stop it moving whilst you cut, but don't get your fingers too close to the edge. Open the blade on your rotary cutter. On this model, I press the red button to lock the blade open. To cut, you simply roll the blade alongside the ruler. Start before the edge of the fabric and put some pressure on it to cut through the fabric. Before you move the ruler, check that you've cut through the fabric all the way along. Now with a neat edge to measure from, I can turn the fabric back around so that this edge is on the left. I'll line it up again with the markings on the mat, both the cut edge and the selvage of the fabric. Let's say that I want to cut a couple of 2-inch wide strips from this piece of fabric. The ruler is numbered from right to left, so I line up the 2-inch line with the straight edge of the fabric. I'll make my cut starting before the edge of the fabric and make sure that it is cut okay before I move the ruler. I'll move that strip aside and then measure again and cut a further strip from this piece of fabric. So that's my two 2-inch strips. When you finish with your cutter, don't forget to press the red button again to release the blade. This prevents damage to the blade or yourself. For extra safety, you can even press the red button again to keep the blade locked shut. If you want to cut a square rather than a strip, you can do this with a quilter's square. I'll show you how to cut a 3-inch square from this fabric. Start by placing the ruler so that the two 3-inch lines are just inside the edge of the fabric. I'll cut up the right hand side just beyond the corner of the ruler, and then I flip this piece of fabric out of the way while I cut across the top. Now I have a square with 2 neat edges and I need to trim up the other 2 sides. So I turn it round and line up the 3-inch lines on the ruler exactly along the 2 trimmed edges of the square. I can now trim off the little extra slivers of fabric from the right hand side and top of the ruler to give me an exact 3-inch square.